Welcome to Truth is Here. It's Mubbina HASHMI. Today is the 3rd of February 2020. I'm making this video in my parents' home in Eastwall in Bristol. Now, those two teeth that you just viewed earlier on in this video were not me expressing myself as some kind of a fashion statement. No, in fact, they were given to me after paying a huge amount of money, well, for myself at least, £5,000 from my savings were spent on securing 2 implant teeth for myself by a local private dental surgeon. Initially, I'd had problems chewing, and so I decided to have some dentures placed in my mouth by my normal, regular NHS dentist, going back some years ago. The lady who agreed to do this forecasted that I would never wear them. I didn't know what she meant by this, so I asked her to just continue, please, as I desperately needed something to replace the 2 missing teeth. As it turned out, when I did actually get the teeth, they didn't fit, and my mouth became very sore. So as she had correctly forecasted, I wasn't able to wear them. Back in 2019, last year, her successor, a male dentist at the same practice, NHS practice, offered, in fact insisted, that he be allowed to do something for me. This dentist also made a set of dentures, and again they did not fit. My mouth became very, very sore and I wasn't able to continue wearing them. So I said to myself, I really do need something to replace those teeth, otherwise I'll be struggling. And according to the gold standards of dentistry, which are implants, it's advised that people who have missing teeth should try and fit some implants in place of those missing teeth. I took up this advice and had a consultation with one of the colleagues of the dentist, male dentist, who was also working for the practice. I paid a sum of money, non-refundable, I think it was something like £100, and attended a meeting. In this meeting, I ascertained the sort of issues that would arise if I had implants, cost, processes, what one can expect, etc., etc. On returning home and reading some of the literature, I decided that I would rather go to a specialist who did nothing but dental implants, rather than going to a generalist, which is what NHS dentists are. They tend to deal with an array of different conditions, and dental implant surgeons will be just focusing on implants and have a lot more experience. So that was one of the reasons why I accepted going elsewhere. To cut a long story short, I again paid a non-refundable sum of money, attended an initial consultation, ascertained the processes of treatment, etc., etc., and the duration, and agreed to go ahead. You do realise that I really do need these teeth, so I couldn't sort of shop around too much, and the cost of teeth are more or less the same. You do get some variation, but sometimes it comes at the cost of having to travel elsewhere, which isn't really a realistic solution for myself. Being based in Bristol, a major city, I thought to myself, it's best if I just try and find somebody more local. Well, it turned out that the information that was supposed to be sent to me in order for me to make preparation for my first or earlier appointments wasn't sent to me, so I had to telephone and make sure that the private surgeon staff sent me the information. When I attended my appointment soon after this exchange of request, or shall I say when I'd made this request, I attended the meeting or my appointment, and I told the male surgeon of European descent, a male white dental surgeon, that I wasn't very happy with the fact that they delayed this information that they should have already sent to me. They'd agreed to, and they should have already done that. Well, anyway, I thought I'd put my trust in this practice and resume. I've had so many bad experiences elsewhere, and I don't think changing practice is a solution. I can't help but think that Mr Graham Southall Edwards hasn't responded to my videos, especially the one to do with Marwa sherbini's murder. And it seems to me that this is the way that the Royal Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain and the General Pharmaceutical Council choose to get back to you if they want you to know something. They just use their powers to intercept any interaction that you have with any organisation, and that's how they relay their sentiments back to you, in hope that you will get the message and stop posting those videos out there on YouTube and spreading the story of what's actually taking place. Right at the beginning, in one of my earlier appointments, the dental surgeon had taken x-rays and now moved on to locating nerves in my head as well, because if you're drilling into somebody's jaw, you need to know exactly where their nerves are located. He did this and fixed the implant screws into my lower jaw. And then after the appointment, it was quite painful, mind you, he gave me some antibiotics and some pain relief tablets to support reducing the inflammation and the pain. I returned home with the contact telephone numbers and the sort of regimen that I was supposed to follow in order for me to adhere to this antibiotic treatment, pain relief schedule. On my first evening, I noticed that whenever I bent forward, my head, the crown of my head, felt there was a sense of accumulated pressure as I stayed down in prostration. For example, when I'm praying, as a Muslim, I have to pray 5 times a day. So when I went into prostration, put my head on the ground, I noticed that there was a sense of increasing pressure. I don't know how to describe it, but in the crown of my head, if I stayed there longer in that position, I couldn't maintain it, and I had to return back and sit in an upright position or stand up, and then and only then would that sensation go. Initially I thought to myself, it's a transient symptom, side effect possibly of the procedure. Obviously it's linked to the procedure. I've never had anything remotely close prior. And so I thought to myself, I will mention this, hopefully it's going to go away. Well, it didn't, and it hasn't. So when I returned to my dentist, the same one, the private dental surgeon, I made mention of this symptom, and his response was, no, if you'd had dentures in your upper jaw, you would experience that, but you haven't. You've had it in your lower jaw. That is to say, you've had the procedure in your lower jaw, the screws fixed in your lower jaw, and so you shouldn't be feeling that, that sensation that you're describing to me. So he waved it aside, and I continued to hope, fingers crossed, that this, what I was hoping was a transient symptom, would then clear up, gradually at least. And it hasn't. Finally, the day came when I was going to have my crowns placed on those implants. I paid extra money to have the best teeth, and so I was hopeful, optimistic you could say, far from being paranoid and expecting the worst, as some people have tried to describe me as. When I looked in the mirror after the dental surgeon had placed the crowns on the implants, I looked in the mirror and they had 2 big ugly holes in them. I remarked immediately, looking at him, that, what's this? They've got holes in them. And he told me, he sort of indicated that I should hush up, because, and he said, you've paid extra money for those holes, so don't say anything. Well, I was sitting there in his chair on my own, with his staff around him, who are actually all of them white, not male, female staff, and some male staff as well in the other areas of the building. And I'll be honest, I didn't feel as though I was in an ideal position to have a debate with him. I've been pleading with my eyes so far because I've had so many bad experiences that I, despite lying there with my mouth open, I couldn't say anything. So I sort of tried to plead with my eyes, go easy on me, please, don't do anything untoward. I've paid just under £5,000 for both those teeth, and I'm not really impressed. So that's just to give you an idea of how I get treated wherever I go. Let me share something else with you as well that might shock you. Just 2 to 3 weeks before I had the crowns placed on the implants, I noticed these 2 crosses outside our front gate. Let me just show you. This graffiti has now been removed. Bristol City Council have been on our backs for some time. My father has in the past not agreed. I think it's because they were trying to extract money from us and he didn't like that. But going back a few weeks, before January, they did actually come and remove the graffiti back in December 2019. I woke up one morning and found some flashing lights outside that side of the wall. It was still dark, so I went downstairs and saw 2 men painting the wall magnolia. That's my name scrambled, Mubbina, and there it says further up, dead here, in the garage. It says on the garage door, dead here.